Hey, Mike here at SkyInclude, keeping you included into the sky. What do you think of that? All right. This is a video that's been on the to-do list for a while, and I'm down a rabbit hole. So, ENS domains or Ethereum naming service. I don't want to say versus, but differences with Handshake or HNS. All right. First of all, we're all trying to be friends. I think what we're trying to do, at least in the Handshake ecosystem, is help people to move onto the blockchain, to have decentralization, true ownership of their names, and basically internet freedom at the core level of the root zone. So, of course, I'm biased. So, if you're an ENS domain fan, maybe you'll think I'm not saying it the right way, but I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. I'm going to try my best to give. It's probably going to be a longer one. I want to really dive deep into this, and I'd love feedback, comments. I don't really like trolls, but if you want to troll, I guess go ahead. But I'm going to try my best to give you an extensive discussion here. Also, Jake at Namebase just made an epic post that I'm going to refer to quite a bit in this. We've also had a recent HandyCon discussing this. Brantley was kind enough to come on from ENS Domains, a very, very nice person. This is a fascinating discussion that I recommend you to check out as well. I'm not going to go through it deeply in today's discussion, but that's also a good reference for you. And let's dive in deep. Let's dive in. So again, refer to the Namebase post. So the first difference is the naming convention. And I hope I get this right, and I've been kind of modifying and developing this. It's currently on .eth name, okay? But I thought that was the long-term plan, but that's not the long-term plan. They do plan to go other TLDs. There's even some news now with the auction.link that they're going to power the. Basically, ENS domains as Ethereum naming plan is to build on top of the current ICANN naming TLD system as blockchain. So taking the current legacy domain system and add ENS on top to give blockchain power on smart contracts on Ethereum to the current domain name system. I hope I get this right. It is a bit technical, but primarily right now it's a .eth domain. So you'll see on Twitter a lot of the fans are using their name .eth. And I can't say I've registered one, but I did register .badass, which is based on it, and I'm going to show you right now how to register an ENS domain. Although I'm sorry, I'm curious. I'm watching a couple that are already registered. It might drop, that I might pick up, maybe. But the big problem right now, I think everybody knows in the world in April 2021, is the gas fees are just, it's congestion, so it's expensive, and that's very unfortunate. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be critical, and I know there's version 2 coming of Ethereum to make the gas fees less, but let's SkyInclude, all right? I don't know if I'll register it, but maybe somebody will squat on it. So it's available, all right? I've done a video at skyinclude.com/badass, and you can see me doing this with the badass system, which is a fork of this tech. So it's this fee and at least this much gas fee, so it's going to be $44 US. Okay, so then I would connect my MetaMask. You know what? Maybe I'll do it right now. How about that? I think I got that much. If it's really 44. Okay, so basically, I think I'm logged in to my MetaMask. Let's just double check. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so let me try. It'll be my first ETH domain. Okay, this is request to register. So I paid $6 just now. didn't expect to register it, but hey, why not do this? Okay, so now it's ready to register. So I'm going to register. Let's go back to MetaMask. This is where I think there'll be the registration fee for the domain and the gas fee. So it's 50 US. Unfortunately, you see, I'm paying $44 in gas fees. I think I pay $4 or $5 for the domain, but I'm just going to do it, all right? So now I have my first ETH domain, my first ENS domain. I'm a customer now. Maybe I'm going to study this more. I also have a crypto.badass and handshake.badass, which is similar, but there is some differences. It doesn't have the same integrations, but both are on Ethereum. So I'm letting this set up. Maybe in the future I'll talk about how I use it. All right, I'm trying to. I want to understand all of these myself. Okay, so now that I have SkyInclude.eth, let's keep moving. So let's talk about the. So that's what I have. I have SkyInclude.eth now. All right, that's ENS domains. I can set up my wallet addresses. People can pay me on that. You can register your own there the same way. Go to app.ens.domains and register. Of course, if you want to get a Handshake TLD.badass, they're my friends and Mike Carson and the crew, Kiva and them. We have a couple videos on that in the channel. This is taking some time. But basically, I just spent $56 for 1 year. And $50 went to the gas fee, and 4 or 5 of that went to this ENS foundation. I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology, but it's something to keep in mind here. Again, this is also linked from the Namer News post, Jake's post. But this money, the registration fee goes to key holders on ENS here. Who owns the ENS root zone, the .eth. It's multi-sig contract in Ethereum, one being Nick Johnson. I just saw him on Twitter. He's the founder of ENS, but the rest are not affiliated with ENS. So over time, they plan to reduce and decentralize human control. You can read this yourself. But basically, the powers they have, such as setting prices, renewals, and or to create additional top-level domains. I think that's what they're doing now. Decentralized as we are able to. So that's one question. What we have is what happens if ICANN says to delete a domain name or or something like that. I'm curious. I would love to hear what would happen if that was the issue with one of those domains, if I do something wrong with mine. So I have to pay every year for what I just registered. This is a 1 year. It's 1 year for this that I need to pay. And then also, unfortunately, those gas fees again, which hopefully by next year are lower. I pray. I want to maybe keep this and build this one out. But with Handshake, it's the root level zone blockchain. It's its own blockchain, HNS, has its own ticker, which has been doing pretty well in the prices. But it's its own dedicated blockchain, okay? And it's its own TLD. So it's, instead of .eth, it's .anything. So there's like hundreds of thousands, I think over 1 million TLDs have been registered now in Handshake, which is a bit different from what I remember the word pollute. Pollute, yeah. Can I register TLD of my own in the ENS? Seems like maybe somebody's asked him about that with like Handshake. No, we consider ENS to be part of global namespace. Basically, we consider it to be part of ICANN. So we do our best to not pollute the namespace. So currently .eth or .test on Robston. So they also plan to go on top, but it seems like they're following the current ICANN legacy DNS structure. Sorry, here it's getting a little bit. I'm gonna keep going. This is gonna be a longer one. All right. So that's the critical key difference, I would say, and we're gonna keep going into more details here. ENS domains is .eth right now, but they plan to integrate on all the current ICANN TLDs and be like a blockchain add-on on top of the current naming system. Whereas Handshake is trying to not collide, not overlap, not be part of the current naming system, but be in addition to the naming system with TLDs. And then this blockchain of Handshake only would maintain TLD records. And then SLD, like such as .badass, could be on Ethereum. It could be on, there's Flare. You can check out this Flare about SLD tokenization on flare.xyz. But basically, Handshake wants to focus on the root zone only. Again, I have somewhat of an outline here. So again, we're at SkyInclude. We have .SkyInclude. We have this blog at setup.SkyInclude. We talked about financial proceeds already. So the money would go, for at least ENS, would go to this private wallet controlled by that group of 7 key holders, which is, one is Nick Johnson. But when you bid on a name in Handshake, which you can do from, of course, Namebase is the big one, right? Everybody knows Namebase. And a lot of us use Namebase, but it doesn't have to be Namebase, okay? They're like the biggest, of course, force right now, and at least in 2021, of Handshake. They call themselves the biggest fans. So right now I can go into masterminding. Interesting. Maybe I want to bid on this. I'll try to put an 11. I have mastermind, so I just bid on this, okay? See if I win. Maybe we'll go through, maybe it won't go through. Didn't even plan on that. But that 11, all right? If I win, I'll pay maybe, well, if they bid 10, I think you know this game, that will not go to Namebase. There are some fees. They might get some mining fees from that. There's a mining fee potentially to make some spread in the mining fee, but the winning bid will go to be burned in the Handshake blockchain. You know, so it's decreasing the supply, which is increasing the price because there's less and less supply of tokens. Of course, there's this mining proof of work system. So that's the one other difference. The money here doesn't go to like Namebase from that burn, whereas the fee I just paid goes to this these key holders and this private wallet in ENS for the SkyInclude.eth. Okay. I'm gonna study this more. I'm kind of excited. I support everybody here. All right, let's go. Payments. You know, we talked about blockchain. We're talking about collisions. You know, collisions is an issue. You know, I'm not going to say it's not an issue, but when Handshake was born or created, it was meant to be a soft fork of the current TLD system, and there was meant to be no overlap or collision, because if there's like a .com on Handshake and a .com, which there isn't a .com on Handshake, but if there was, that would cause a big problem, because if you're in Chrome and you type in SkyInclude.com, would it be the Handshake one or would it be the normal ICANN DNS one, right? So they, I believe, did a really good job, but there might have been a couple that either slipped through the cracks or came out by ICANN after, or miscommunication. So there might be a couple, but for the huge majority, there is no overlap. That's the whole point. And I'm going to put a video from the HandyCon of JJ sharing about this and why the founders of Handshake decided to make its own blockchain rather than on Ethereum, which is ETH, which is, you know, what ENS uses. Why make their own blockchain? Why make HNS token? Why make their own proof of work system with mining? Why make this whole ecosystem? Let's go into that right now. Boom.
And it's a question for both JJ and Andrew. In your own words, explain why and how Handshake came to be. What is the original ethos? Start with JJ and then go to Andrew.
So I don't know if there's an ethos exactly, but there is a vision or maybe use cases. So I think naming is very important as a base layer. Like, for example, like, how do you get rid of the SSL cert racket? You need to solve the naming problem first. You can't just get rid of SSL certs without solving the naming problem. And so that sort of brings you to DNS, because DNS is a naming system, and it already has all of these technologies built into it, like Dane and TLS, which can serve as a replacement for the root authorities, the SSL or TLS certificate authorities. And when you think about it, DNS is already pretty decentralized. Like if you look at internet technologies, they tend to get more centralized over time. Like for example, Twitter used to be RSS and blogs, and now it's Twitter. Now it's a completely centralized system. They took RSS and blogs and added a CEO and added a company and centralized it on one platform. Reddit was the same thing. It used to be news groups and Usenet and named in a decentralized manner. So naming was originally decentralized, but over time we ended up with the ICANN root zone. And that's sort of the only centralized part of DNS. So if you can decentralize that part, you end up with a completely decentralized system. And initially, in sort of early conversations about Handshake, we sort of had maybe like more of an ENS or Namecoin like model, where you sort of reserved one pseudo TLD, which would serve all the child zones. So we were thinking like .h or something. And I remember in the early days, I tried playing around with this. I tried implementing it, and it was terrible. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. Like it screwed up SSL certs. It screwed up load balancers and reverse proxies. And I think almost as like a hack, I tried removing the .h. Like, well, what if we just were the root zone? And everything worked like a dream after that. And so I was staring at it, and I started thinking, like, well, why doesn't this protocol just become the root zone? It would work transparently. If the internet infrastructure actually upgraded to this, the average person almost wouldn't notice the difference. I mean, other than the fact that maybe there's more TLDs in the root zone. Of course, they would notice that. But for the most part, like, the average person doesn't actually have to do anything. They don't have to install anything. They don't like you think about Bitcoin, right? It's very hard to get people to use Bitcoin. And even though Bitcoin has made massive strides and become super popular, it's still hard to convince the average person to use Bitcoin for something. But what if they didn't have to? What if the financial infrastructure just got upgraded to Bitcoin behind the scenes and they didn't even notice the difference? Like, that's actually something you can do with naming. Nobody actually needs to see the upgrade happen. So this is essentially, I would say, if there's an ethos, I would say it's essentially that Handshake is sort of a soft fork for the internet. It's a way to upgrade internet infrastructure, and most people don't have to concern themselves with it at all. And it's a good base layer for other things, right? Like other protocols, other projects. It provides you a small amount of uncensorable data on the blockchain. It's good for identity, just proofs of identity and owning your own identity, and it can't be taken away from you. Yeah, I suppose that would be my answer, unless I can think of anything else. I think that's my answer.
Okay, we're back. So that was a little clip from that. You can watch the whole thing. I'm going to link it in the show notes. But that's one of the differences here. Also, the whole Merkle tree. And again, I'm not going to get into this, but it's also in this Namer News post. Is the Merkle Patricia tree. This is a little more technical for me, to be honest, but this is really deep dive if you really are technical and want to understand why here. So, it's basically compatible with the DNS. So I'll just say maybe read this more deeply if you're curious about Merkle tree and Patricia tree and Ethereum. This is an amazing transcript from Boima. I wish I could meet this person. I've seen some of his videos at the MIT speech and this article. He's contributed a lot to the early stages. Thank you, Boima. I would love to thank you myself if I could. All right. I hope I'm not jumping around. I know some people say I jump around, but I'm also the ownership. Like I did mention, ENS, you have to pay the yearly registration fee. Of course, you could do like 100 years. I've talked to Brantley about it. You could do 100 years, and then not have to pay the gas fees because you did 100 years and say $400 or whatever. It'd be 100 times that. But I want to build stuff that even if I die, hopefully it can live on. And if my wife doesn't want to renew it or my son doesn't want to renew it, I'm trying to build stuff. I mean, I believe content. I believe this video is helpful for more than this year or whatever I'm alive. I know it sounds crazy, but I think about stoicism a lot and legacy. But anyways, you could register 100 years and then save that gas fee. But with HNS, you do need to do a renewal. I believe it's like a 0.01 HNS. I think even less than that. It's a mining fee. Okay, that's the fee. Every 2 years, you need to send a mining transaction to the blockchain of HNS to say you're still using this. It can be, I believe, automated. There's some smart people working on this. If you use Namebase, they'll do it for you automatically and deduct that mining fee, which might be around this fee, So you do have some renewal. I can't say it's never renewal. There is a renewal, okay, just for the record. So it's a mining fee every 2 years to prove that you're still using this and want this. If not, it goes back to the pool and then new people could bid on it, okay? So that is true. There is a renewal. Basically, this is a video. I love what JJ says is it's a soft fork of the internet. And ENS, it looks like is trying to build on top of the current legacy domain name system with ICANN, their blockchain technology as tools using Ethereum smart contracts. And those are the key differences, I would say. I hope this is helpful, but I don't know. Me and a lot of people in the Handshake community feel like we don't want to, it's not just the gas fees. We don't want to pay a yearly fee. We don't want to have set key holders that could, be told by, ICANN or VeriSign or somebody else, delete this guy's website. I just talked to friends that just got their Facebook account deleted. Maybe they said something that they didn't want to take a vaccine and they got their account deleted. I mean, seriously, we don't like that stuff. We want to have the true ownership. We believe that the internet is meant to be for the user, not for the corporations. It's not meant for the corporations. It's not meant for centralized control. So, we feel and we believe the majority of people in the Handshake ecosystem, and I'm just a community member. I don't work for Handshake. I've done events. I've made some friendships. I was actually one of the people HNS Fund granted some of the proceeds to support these content. So I do have some interest, of course, in Handshake. Of course, I have names. I have other interests. Teaching our whole team and a lot in the Philippines. But we believe that we have some kind of ownership rather than we're just renting a name. And I think that's the core difference of handshakers and people. And we believe it's more than just some altcoin against Bitcoin maximalists that we seem to face or Ethereum maximalists that we seem to face. Those are our top two coins. We're not just some little altcoin. I mean, we believe we have our own control of our destiny as a namer, and I feel if you go to SkyInclude / you will be able to see that links, D-links, and if my YouTube channel gets shut down, I actually back these up. I don't trust YouTube. They're going to delete this, man. Maybe they don't like what I say. And then they just send me some notice and delete all these videos. And then I can put a new link to another decentralized YouTube when that comes out. And I'm going to replace all those videos there. This is what we're talking about. I know there's some squatters. I know there's flippers. But there are artists and there are creators in here. Okay? And we're going to continue to keep developing this. So I hope this is all helpful. I'm not the most technical person, and I'm just trying to link up different things and connect different people. But I hope I was unbiased here. I have SkyInclude.eth now. Okay, you can pay me in Ethereum. Maybe you can pay me in SkyInclude.eth now. If you want to send me ETH, send it here. Okay, that is pretty cool. That is cool. You can send me Ethereum SkyInclude.eth. Okay. Um, and I know I can resolve it with my MetaMask installed when I set up the resolver. I don't know how many people have done that. But if I don't pay that yearly fee next year, and if the gas fees are $50 again, I'm going to pay $55 next year. I really pray. I hope. I like Ethereum. I use Ethereum for other things. I hope the gas fees can go lower, but it's more than that. It's more than that. Okay. Handshake is more than just saving gas fees. Handshake is about having true ownership and not being, scared that your domain is going to be removed, your content is going to get deleted. That is, and I really would love to hear what would ENS do if ICANN or VeriSign or somebody, if they integrate with .com, and then if somebody says if ENS domains delete that domain, take it offline, what would happen? I don't know. I mean, that's just one thing I'm worried about, and I'm gonna start to check. I wonder if I want masterminding, and I could use Bob Wallet. Okay, you could use Bob Wallet. I got videos about that too. I hope this is helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Again, trolls are welcome, although it does affect me. I'm still a little bit sensitive. I've gotten called some bad stuff on social media, but I'm doing what I can do here. Thank you. I wish you the best, and I'm more excited than ever. I mean, no matter what, there's going to be a blockchain internet, and it's Web3, dWeb, decentralized web, whatever you want to call it. And it's coming. It's happening. It's already going. It's just a matter of these naming systems and protocols and hosting solutions, etc. So I hope all of this helps. I'll try to link all of this. Thanks, Jake, for making this inspiring me to get this started. And Tiashun, I hope this is helpful. This is a very extensive post too that I will link to that you should read. Of course, I put one on SkyInclude.com, ENS-versus-HNS. Although we're trying to be friends, I'm trying to do the SEO. When people search, what's the difference of ENS? Everybody keeps asking, what's the difference of ENS domains and Handshake? So hopefully this can be one of those videos that helps people answer that question. Thank you so much. I love your feedback. Let's keep working together and communicating. And I'm really happy. Thanks, Brantley, for coming to our HandyCon. I really appreciate that. And we had some good conversations here. And I really do want to have more integrations. He's also been in some of our clubhouses and Twitter spaces. And honestly, I would love to figure out more ways of interoperability. We're talking to more other blockchains to cooperate as well with Handshake. And it's exciting times. Thank you so much.